Spanning the River Arun, just 4 miles upstream from Arundel, is Houghton Bridge.
Historically, Houghton has always been important for transport connections. Firstly for the river, then for the railway, and now of course for the road. The bridge behind me has featured on many postcards over the years, and there are at least 2 local outlets selling them in the early 1900s.
One was Pebble Cottage, next to the bridge. Another was the post office, just past the bridge inn on the Stoke Road. All these postcards I've collected offer a rare insight into life around here 100 years ago. But it was this postcard of Houghton Bridge which gave me a clue to one famous inhabitant of the village. A short drive takes me to Houghton village, where we can pick up the trail. That postcard of the bridge was sent from Houghton House on April the 7th, 1915. It was written by Mrs. Corbishley, who was the mother-in-law of Jose Weiss, the owner of Houghton House at the time. Weiss came over from France and stayed in the area for 23 years. Jose Weiss became a well-known artist and made a good living from his paintings, with Houghton the subject of many of them. This is the George and Dragon Inn, just across the road from Houghton House.
Jose Weiss was famous for more than just his paintings, but more of that later. The George and Dragon predates the Civil War, and it is said that it was a stop-off point for the future Charles II during his escape to France in 1651.
More recently, a postcard of the pub links us to another village resident who lived in South Lane, just down the road. This is where the Cunninghams lived, and from here a card was posted to a family member on the 21st of February 1916. It was addressed to C.J. Cunningham, stoker, HMS Princess Royal, the First World War battlecruiser which engaged in all the major battles of the North Sea as part of Admiral Beattie's squadron. The date of posting suggests that this card could have been aboard during the defining sea battle of the conflict, Jutland. Perhaps it served to remind Stoker Cunningham of the comforts of family and home at a time when he was very much in peril. South Lane has some fine old buildings, often providing subjects for postcard photographers.
One of these photographers, John White of Littlehampton, did a series of postcards of these cottages in 1901. This particular card is of number 20.
I discovered from the 1901 census that this cottage was occupied by the Deacon family. Here are Mother Emmy with her children Alfred, Horace, Arthur, Albert and Thomas. Their father Baig is not present. He was a farm worker and had 18 children in all, from 2 wives.
But it was Jose Weiss who was the most interesting. Not only was he a successful artist, but he had another passion, and he used the income from his paintings to pay for it.
In 1909, Jose Weiss co-opted some local youths to assist with his plan. On June the 27th, aided by Albert Strudwick, an ancestor of the current farmer here, the group carried a large, cumbersome object up this track to the top of the hill. This is Amberley Mount.
Jose Weiss was an aviation pioneer. It was from here that his first full-scale manned glider made its record flight. The pilot was a local 17-year-old volunteer, Eric Gordon England, and he later recorded his experience in a book.
After some careful instruction from Jose Weiss, he launched the Olive, as the glider was named, down the precipitous north face. I suddenly found myself high above Weiss's head, and in fact in soaring flight. I was able to keep the machine's head to the wind, and I proceeded to glide out over the valley and out of the upcurrent. After which seemed a very long time, the Olive came gently to rest on its keel in a ploughed field at the bottom of the hill. There I remained seated until the breathless Jose Weiss arrived and announced that his stopwatch had clocked 58 seconds flight, and the machine had soared high above its starting point. This flight remained a record until after the First World War. Weiss went on to experiment with powered aircraft on Climping Sands, with limited success, and later from Brooklands at Weybridge. His wing design was incorporated into Handley Page aircraft developments. Weiss died in 1919, but his gliding legacy lives on through the Southdown Gliding Club. The flight from Amberley Mount is considered to have been the birth of the sport of gliding. As a collector of old postcards, I'm always fascinated and surprised at the stories that emerge. Not only do they reveal clues about everyday life in a bygone age, they can also uncover extraordinary tales of endeavour and bravery.